Hi there, and welcome to a very special episode of Access Granted today. I'm joined by Dan Jones, our VP of Ingenia USA, and we're doing a little bit of a debrief off the back of the high-tech event in the US. And Dan's here to tell us all about the offerings coming out of the US with our RFID and access control products. So, Dan, why don't you just lead into today what it is that you're doing out in the US and what you're overseeing at the moment?
Sure. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, I guess a bit of a background to Ingenia USA. Been in the US market for 5 or 6 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We initially started off by working with partners in the States and servicing them from our UK entity.
Yeah.
And the dynamic has changed quite a lot in the past few years. We have a physical facility here in Hanover, Maryland, just outside Baltimore, where I'm based, and we have a team on the ground here which consists of an element of production, customer service, operations and sales. It's been really exciting to see the growth of the US entity and see the growth of the team here.
Massively.
The US market is certainly an exciting one for us.
And this has obviously been to keep up with demand, hasn't it? This has been to help service these clients which have grown from some initial relationships into much broader kind of partnerships.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say the partnership thing that you referenced, Sam, is very key. All of our customers, if you like, are really our partners.
Yeah.
And you really hit the nail on the head with what you said in regards to being pulled into the market. It's super important to be able to serve these clients with a US-based team.
Yeah, definitely.
Both production and customer service, and very pleased to say that it's moving forward at a pace.
Yeah, it certainly speaks to just the general growth of Ingenia, which I know we've touched on before. So, it's obviously the payoff stage now that we're in.
Yeah, it is. Really, we're only just starting on our journey here. Of course, we've got lots to achieve over the coming years. Excited that we're going to be opening a full end-to-end US production facility by the end of this calendar year, 2026.
Which is mad because, that's a crazy turnaround for the growth that we're talking about here.
It is, yeah. Of course, it's not going to be servicing all types of clients. It's mainly going to be chip card production focused,
Yeah,
which is our main production and main card usage here in the US.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the mothership, the production sites in the UK to back us up with everything which isn't chip card related. But it's very exciting, and customers and partners are intrigued by what we're going to be offering.
Definitely. Yeah, it's huge. So when we're talking about the US, the most recent thing that has been on the radar for Ingenia has been our attendance at high-tech. So what can you tell us about that? Obviously, it's a hospitality-focused show, but our presence there was mainly to spread the word around our offering to hospitality businesses and things like that. So give us the rundown, and then we'll dive into how the show went.
Yeah. So high-tech was a great success. It's the first time that Ingenia has exhibited on US soil, and so it is proving new ground for us, really.
Yeah, very much.
And it was a success. The show is all about innovation in technology for the hospitality market.
Sure.
So think along the lines of casinos, hotels, amusement parks, etc. And there's a lot of the key players in the market exhibiting there, the likes of dormakaba, Assa Abloy, Salto, as the big hotel lock providers.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, obviously those names, dormakaba, Salto, Assa Abloy, those are like pretty much the gold standard of door lock supplier. And we've obviously worked with a number of those companies for quite some time, but for the sake of the US market and our hospitality offerings, it's a little bit of a newer arena, I would say.
Yeah, it is. The core of the company, Ingenia, when it was founded in 1976, has always been about the identity vertical.
Yes.
So think corporate ID, national ID.
Yeah,
style
driver's
customers.
license, things like that.
Now, as we're expanding and growing as a company, we've moved more into hospitality or the access control arena, if you like.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty wide arena to be playing in. And hospitality is one of those sub-verticals, if you like. And yeah,
Sure.
You're right, Sam. It's one of our more recent growth areas, probably really only in the past 3 or 4 years, I'd say.
But now to be at Hi-Tech and sort of rubbing shoulders with these guys who, in the past we've sort of dealt with from afar, I suppose. Now we're very much occupying the same spaces as them.
Yeah, absolutely. We have made some big strides. And of course, we're working with some of the biggest hotel groups in the world.
Yes.
And those partnerships have been successful to this point.
Yeah, certainly.
And looking to continue on that growth and work with some of the other players.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, that growth is very much fueled by our presence at Hi-Tech. For us to appear there and be in front of people that probably haven't really heard of us before, unless they've already worked with us. It's a huge step, I think.
Yeah, it certainly is a huge step forwards. I'd say we bring a different offering to the table to some of the other players. We're very flexible in terms of our manufacturing abilities.
Yeah.
We can produce custom printed keys very quickly. But not only that, we're stocking a wide range of finished hotel keycards for the different brands in all three of our global warehouses. So, of course, here in the US, on the East Coast, in the UK, and in the Netherlands for our European facility.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, if we're talking coverage, obviously Ingenia has that now in spades. We talk a lot about being able to service our customers wherever they might be, from within either the same or similar time zone and everything else. So that's obviously hugely successful. I think, going back to Hi-Tech now, with us sort of making an appearance and starting to build our brand out in the US, what does this mean for sort of that landscape and I suppose the people that we work with getting to know us more? Yeah,
I think it means a lot. This is obviously the start of our physical presence at US hospitality shows. Many more to come, of course. But I'd say our offering extends further than just having boots on the ground and stock in a distribution facility here in the US. We have a key focus on security. We have a key focus on helping properties move over to digital credentials, which is probably a buzzword, moving people digital at the moment.
Yeah, people's ears tend to prick up when you talk digital credentials. I think, obviously it can be a controversial topic at the moment as well, but equally, if we're talking hospitality at least, that just speaks to convenience, right?
Yeah, I mean, we stay a lot in hotels when we travel as business people, don't we? And having to go to front desk and pick up a key card, sometimes there's a queue, can be a lethargic experience if you've just arrived on a late night flight and you just want to get to your room. And that's really where digital keys can come into its own, where you can pick up your digital key on your phone before you even arrive at the property, and you're checked in, you go straight to your room. So digital is quite an interesting offering, but of course in some instances there's nothing like the experience of going to front desk and getting that personal experience, and being given some great places to go and eat around the area when you speak to the receptionist, and pick up your physical key. I don't think there's anything that feels as good as picking up a physical key.
Yeah, I think it's about towing that line, isn't it, between what amount of service do I want to sacrifice for convenience, and whether there's any fringe benefits to that. I think if you're talking about the average person who probably has a similar sort of experience with hotels and obviously has stayed in one before where you are issued a key, switching over to digital now it also comes with maybe a security benefit. You know, your key is now only accessible through your own device that's personally locked. You know, does this mean that on the whole the industry is moving in that direction for more than just convenience?
Yeah, possibly. The security question is forefront of everyone's minds, really.
Sure.
I mean, it was only just a few years ago that we saw the MyFair Classic chipset get hacked, if you like, and there's so many different devices out there that can emulate whatever is programmed to a 1K chip. Devices such as the Flipper Zero.
Yes.
I mean, essentially you can get access to another person's room if you've got access to their keycard, which is why we always suggest that people make the move upwards in terms of security to other chipsets, Ultralight C, Ultralight AES, to guarantee that compliance and to guarantee that security, which realistically speaking is what guests want. They want to know they're secure in their hotel room.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that Sven and I have touched on in another episode where we centered all around security, and of course the Flipper Zero being that accessible tool for somebody to be able to clone your key card. We talked about Ingenia's duty as a manufacturer to not only inform our clients of the dangers and recommend these upgraded chips, but also to make sure that from a public perspective that we also spread that awareness and are telling the potential end users of our products about what to look out for as well.
Yeah, it's very key to get the knowledge out there that there are more secure chipsets and credentials that can be used. Now, of course, a big part of hospitality is cost.
Right.
Keycards are a heavily commoditized item, really.
Yes.
But also they're commoditized, but they're imperative that they've got good security. Obviously, this has to go hand in hand with a secure lock system. It's not just a key card.
Right.
But to be having those conversations at Hi-Tech with properties where we can take them on the security journey and hold their hand, if you like.
Yeah.
To give them and their guests the confidence that they're secure in their rooms.
No, certainly. I think it very much it is an important thing for us as a business. You know, we're always happy to be on that front line when it comes to not just the innovations, but also the benefits that come along with that. And obviously you mentioned the door lock providers again. I know wholeheartedly, based on our partnerships with them, that they feel the same.
Yeah, they definitely do. And I think they're trying very hard to get properties to upgrade locks, and we're seeing it everywhere now. It is happening. Maybe not as fast as it should be, but there is a definite move to more secure technologies.
Yeah, I think that that's very much an industry sort of maybe a wave at the moment that everyone is feeling, where sort of those around them are maybe being affected by it, and we certainly are driving it, of course, as a manufacturer. So I think it's inescapable to a degree if you're talking about hospitality spaces. So let's just quickly run through the show. Then you said that it was successful. We seem like we made a mark based on the conversations that I've heard, but having been there yourself and obviously experienced it face to face with our sort of new connections and everything, what was your opinion on it?
Yeah, I think the show was great. The location, the city this year was San Antonio, which is a great place to be. The attendance was pretty good, I'd say.
It seemed like it was a busy couple of days.
Yeah, it was a busy couple of days. Yeah.
So if we're talking footfall, I mean, how does Hi-Tech compare to one of our typical trade shows that we might be more used to in another space?
Good question. I'd say it's a bigger show than our standard Trust Tech show.
Yes.
But of course, it's a much larger vertical, if you like.
Yes.
So many different products that serve hotels and casinos and resorts.
Exactly. You mentioned earlier, like some other kind of people that might not necessarily, you know, they're not there for us. They might be there for a door lock system, or they might be there for, you know, casino technology or something. So not every person that wanders by, I suppose, is interested in access control. But that doesn't mean to say that Ingenia doesn't add value just simply by being on their minds.
Yeah. Whenever you get a property come past, everyone is familiar with a hotel keycard.
Sure.
Everybody uses them in properties on a daily basis. And without a keycard or an equivalent keycard, nobody can access their rooms.
Yeah.
And so if you like, a hotel wouldn't even be able to open its doors without keycards.
Right.
Which is why it's really imperative to have a good on-the-ground presence to make sure a hotel never runs out of keys. If they run out of keys, they can't even service a guest.
Exactly. Yeah, I suppose it's just central to their daily operations. There's no getting away from it. Like you say, without them, everything would grind to a halt.
Yeah, it would. Absolutely. They are a commodity item, but they are absolutely imperative to hotels being able to open their doors.
I think this goes back to what you said about sort of supply. You mentioned Ingenia obviously holding stock for these brand standard contracts that we hold and things like that, making sure that when someone comes calling for X amount of keys, that we can fulfill that. Do you think that supply chain is something that people are thinking more about in this area now?
Yeah, really interesting point. The supply chain is challenged at the moment, I'd say. We're not quite back in the COVID era of chip shortages.
No, but still.
But I'd say we are feeling it more than we were even 12 months ago.
Right.
The effects of the geopolitical issues around the world are being felt in our very small industry. There are chip shortages and pricing is going up and lead times are going up, which means that having a strong supply chain all the way back to the chip itself is becoming more important.
Yeah.
And that's really where Ingenia comes in. We've got great relationships with the chip manufacturers.
Yes.
To be able to make sure that we've always got product available, or we're looking ahead and forecasting, so we've always got the right chips at the right time to be able to service these contracts and properties that we've referenced. It's definitely got more of a focus, a needed focus, than perhaps it has in the past.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I know that Ingenia, we've always leveraged our relationships with chip manufacturers because it allows us to create those savings initially for customers. But I think just as important, it comes back to making sure that when a hotel gives us that call and says, I need 10,000 cards, like in like a matter of days, then we're in that conversation and it's a possibility.
Yeah, to be able to make sure that we can service any clients that are in need, of course. And as we referenced earlier, this isn't just holding a stock of a certain keycard type. If somebody wants to build a custom key, whether that's a standard PVC key or a wooden key, it's important that we hold the right chips in stock in our UK manufacturing facilities to be able to service those custom print orders, as well as the brand standard key types that we hold in our warehouses.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, Ingenia has that manufacturing heritage, so a bespoke order is never too much sweat on our brow whenever they do come in. We're just as prepared whether we already hold the stock or if we need to produce it.
Absolutely. And as we referenced earlier, when we open our US facility in just a few months' time, we're really going to add to our offering and making sure that we're efficient and flexible to be able to service these clients.
Definitely, yeah. I think capacity is just going to keep climbing the more and more advanced we get in this area. So it's a huge win, definitely, for not just us, but our customers as well. So, worth mentioning there, Dan. So I think we'll close this one up just quickly. Thank you very much, Dan, for joining us today. Your insights, as always, invaluable, and thanks for giving us the rundown from Hi-Tech. It's certainly been one of those moments where it's been a big win all round, because I know that I've obviously been keen to see the results there. But as you said, our first step into the US presence at a trade show I'm very pleased to hear that it went as smoothly as it did and that we had the impact that we were hoping for.
Yeah, it was good enough for us to be able to sign up for next year. So
Exactly.
We're excited to be at HITEC next year in Orlando.
No, definitely. And we'll be making just as much of a splash, I think, and bringing everything to bear there as well. So, yeah, something to look forward to for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're all looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you very much, Dan. And thank you all for tuning in. This has been another episode of the Access Granted podcast by Ingenia. Make sure you hit the subscribe to stay tuned for the next one. Thanks very much. Bye-bye, everybody.